Do you remember doing long division, like in elementary school? Hopefully. Okay, so the whole point of long division is it helps you find zeros or find factors of some polynomial. Okay, so this is long division, but using polynomials, not just using numbers, right, Michael? So here's how it works. If your remainder ends up as a 0, what you end up with is a factor of the polynomial you're starting with, okay? Let me refresh your memory a bit how long division works. If I'm doing 7,460 divided by 5, what do you do first? Do you remember? How many times does 5 go into 7? 1 time. Okay, so you put the 1 up top. 1 times 5 is 5. And then what do you do with those numbers? Subtract. So if I subtract, I get a 2 here. We bring down that 4, and then you start all over. How many times does 5 go into 24? 4 times. 5 times 4 is 20. We subtract, bring down the 6. How many times does 5 go into 46? 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Subtract, bring down the 0. How many times does 5 go into 10? 2. Notice there's no remainder, right? This is 10. We subtract, we get 0. There is no remainder. When that happens, what you end up with is a factor, right? We would say 5 and 1492 are factors of 7,460. Okay, now we're just doing that with polynomials instead. So if I had like x plus 2 and x plus 4, we would say those are factors of, if I FOIL this, x squared plus 6x plus 8, right? These are factors of this polynomial, okay? That's essentially the same thing as these are factors of this number. So we're gonna do it very similarly. We're gonna do it using long division. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so we set it up just like the division bar that you see in that first problem that I did for you. You take x squared plus 6x plus 8, and you divide by x plus 4. Are you with me? Here we go. Here's the process, okay? The only thing we really care about right now is this and that, okay? You're gonna ask yourself the question, just like we did on that last problem, what could I multiply x by to get x squared, right? Or how many x's go into x squared, or x times what will go into x squared is a better way of saying that. So x times what equals x squared? That would be 2x, right? X times x is x squared. That means we're gonna put an x up top, and we wanna keep our degrees together. So it's x to the first power, right? So I'm gonna put that above my first power x's, above the 6x. Okay, now here's what you do. Just like we did up top, you take the number out in front and the number on top, and you do what with them? We did 5 times 4 is 20, right? So we're gonna multiply them. We're gonna essentially do x times x plus 4. You don't need to show me all this work. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. You can do it in your head. You can do it like this if you want. I don't care. But we're gonna distribute that x to the x plus 4. So x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x, okay? Now in long division, what's your next step? Subtract. So we're gonna subtract. X squared minus x squared is 0. 6x minus 4x is 2x. What's your next step if we're doing long division? Drop down the 8, and this is a plus 8, okay? And now you do the exact same process again. You're asking yourself the question, What can I multiply this x by to get 2x? 2, right? If I multiply by 2, so I'm going to put a plus 2 up here because it's a positive 2. If I multiply both of those by 2, okay, you can write it like that, you can write it like this, or you can not show me any of that and just do it in your head. 2x plus 8 is what I end up with, and now I'm going to subtract those, and I get 0. If you get 0, then you have a factor. So that means x plus 2 is a factor of x squared plus 6x plus 8, and x plus 4 is a factor of x squared plus 6x plus 8, okay? Your answer is this, x plus 2, okay? It says divide it. When we divide, we get x plus 2. Now, I don't care if you leave it like that with your answer, or if you want to write it again separate, that's fine. But if you're going to leave it like this, I need you to circle it because I need you to understand that that's your answer. Okay, x plus 2 is your answer. So highlight it or circle it or box it, something that shows me that you know what you're talking about. Okay? Okay. This is a side note. This is not what you're going to have to do with it right now, but I want you to just wrap your brain around what's going on here. Could you tell me the zeros of this polynomial? -2 and -4, right? Essentially what you're saying is x plus 2 times x plus 4 equals 0. So your zeros would be -2 and -4, okay? You don't need to do that. I just want you to see how it all ties together, what we've been doing. That's what we're working with there. Okay, let's do another one. So this one says divide. So we're going to start with x squared plus 2x minus 30. And we're going to divide by x minus 5. What is the first question you ask yourself? Look at the first two things, right? The first thing here and the first thing here. X times what gets you x squared? X. Okay, that goes above your 2x. We want our degrees to stay in line. Okay, so if I'm multiplying by x then, I'm saying x squared minus 5x. Okay, we're going to subtract those. Now here's where you really have to be careful. Notice what's happening here. If I'm saying subtract and then this number is a negative, this is where a lot of mistakes get made. Minus a negative is what? Plus a positive. Yes, Jackson.
Where'd you get the x squared from?
I multiplied the x by x,
Okay.
right? And then that's x times x is x squared. And then I multiply the x times the -5, and that's minus 5x. Okay? Okay, so when we simplify here, x squared minus x squared is 0. 2x minus a -5x is 2x plus 5x. So that's 7x minus 30, right? We bring down our minus 30. What do you do next? X times what gets you 7x? 7. So you go plus 7 up top, okay? Now distribute that. So you get 7 times x is 7x. 7 times -5 is a -35. Subtract them. What do you get? You get a positive 5, right? -30 minus a negative is plus a positive 35. So that's a positive 5. Now there's nothing else to bring down here. So that's your remainder, okay? Here's how you're gonna write that as an answer. And you have two options. I'll tell you the easier option. I'll tell you the way the book is gonna give it to you. And then I'm actually gonna tell you the way that you'll be required to do it next year. In case any of you want to just get in that habit now, you're welcome to. So x plus 7, remainder 5, is a perfectly good answer. Okay? If you are planning to take ham or ram next year, you'll have to write it slightly differently. You will write it like this. Do you know what ham and ram are? Honors advanced math and regular advanced math? Sorry, it's the next thing that you would take in math succession. Okay, so you could also write it like this. X plus 7 plus, now here's what I want you to think about. If I took 5 and I divided it by 2, it goes in 2 times, and you're left with 1, so that's 2 and 1/2, right? This over this. So if you want to write it the next year way, you would write this as x plus 7 plus remainder over divisor. Did you ever learn that? Rod it. You rod it. Remainder over divisor.
If I did, I forgot.
I always remembered it because my dad's name is Rod. So you rod it. You dad it. So x plus 7 plus 5 over x minus 5. So this is the book way, and I'm great with it. If you want to leave it that way, great. This is the ham and ram way. If you want to write it that way, that's fine too. Just know that if you don't put that plus in, it's not technically the right answer. So make sure you add all 3 pieces together if you're going to do it that way. Questions on that? Yes?
So we did 5 to like, why did we pick 5 again?
That was our remainder. That's what we were left over with, right? This one didn't work out to a remainder of 0.
Yeah. Well, did we choose 5 because it was the closest to get to 30? Like the closest number times 7 to get to 30? Even though there was no
We
base.
chose 7,
Yeah.
right, which got us the 35. And then we have to subtract negative 30 minus a negative 35. So plus a positive 35 is 5. So it's,
Right.
because it's not always going to work out. This is what's going to work out perfectly. The first part always is exactly what you need it to be, but that means the second part isn't necessarily. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Example 3. I'm going to have you try this one on your own. Okay? Work that one out. See what you get. And just as a test run, what will you be multiplying by first?
X. No, 3. 3x cubed.
Oh,
3x.
squared. 3x squared, right? You're asking yourself x times what gets me 3x cubed? That would be 3x squared, right? 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. Nicholas, put that away and do your math. Okay, so work that out. Here's what you should have done. You're asking yourself the question, x times what gets you 3x cubed? That's 3x squared, right? 3x squared times x is 3x cubed, okay? So then you multiply that by both of these things. Essentially, you're going 3x squared times x plus 2, and you're distributing that, okay? So that's 3x cubed plus 6x squared, okay? Now you subtract that. This one will always go away. You're picking the number that makes that go away. That is 0. 9x squared minus 6x squared is 3x squared. Bring down the plus 8x, okay? Now you're asking x times what gets you 3x squared?
3x squared.
Just 3x.
3x.
3x. So plus 3x, okay? And now we're going to multiply that 3x by both of those things. So 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x, and we're subtracting. The first part goes away. 8x minus 6x is 2x. Bring down your 4. Okay? Now you're saying x times what equals 2x. That's a positive 2. So now distribute that 2 to both things. 2x plus 4 and subtract. You get 0, which means you have no remainder. There's nothing else to bring down. So your answer is 3x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay? Essentially what that means, you guys, is this times this equals your polynomial that you started with, right? It's the reverse of division. We just multiply them. Okay. These next two require a little something more. Okay. Take a look at this and tell me it's not hard.
It's NA.
No, we don't NA anything here. Take a look at this and tell me why you think this is different than what we've been doing.
It's in parentheses.
There is no x, right? Look at your exponents. We went 4, 3, 2, but there's no x to the first power, okay? Here's the deal. If you ditch the x, your whole thing looks funky and you will not be able to solve it. The only difference on this problem is you have to put in a 0x, okay? So it's 2x to the fourth plus 6x to the third plus 5x squared plus 0x minus 45. If you don't put that in, it will not work, okay? So make sure you have descending order for your exponents, every single one. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay? We're going to divide that by x plus 3. Okay? And then I got one more thing for you in this one that is a little bit unique. So it's okay. It really is not hard. Here you have an x. Here you have a 2x to the fourth. So you're asking yourself the question, what can I multiply x by to get 2x to the fourth power?
2x cubed.
2x cubed. So that's going to go above your x cubes. Okay, now multiply that by both things. You get 2x to the fourth plus 6x cubed.
That's just 2x cubed. That's the answer.
Well, yeah, so look what happens. No, it's not the answer. Because we haven't done anything with the rest of it yet. This is 0. This is 0. When the whole thing comes out to 0 right there, you can't just take the 5x down or the 5x squared down. It won't work, okay? So what you do is you take the next 2 down. 5x squared plus 0x, okay? So if it zeroes out over here, you have to pull the next 2 down, okay? So now you're saying, what can I multiply x by to get 5x squared? 5x. Okay, so that goes way over here. If I multiply by 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 3 is 15x. Subtract them. What do you get? Negative 15x. Right? Negative 15x. Bring down the negative 45. And now you ask yourself the question, what can I multiply x by to get a negative 15x?
3. Oh, wait.
Negative.
I was thinking the live by.
Negative 15, right? So if I multiply both of these parts by negative 15, I get negative 15x minus 45. Okay, subtract them. What do you get? 0. So there's no remainder. That means your answer is right here. 2x cubed plus 5x minus 15.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
Miles.
Are negatives on both sides, so like 6x cubed plus 6x cubed, it's a negative, right? All this. You got 0.
6x cubed, because you're always subtracting. So it's 6x cubed minus 6x cubed.
Oh, okay.
So this is negative 45 minus negative 45. So that's negative 45 plus 45. Yeah. Okay, last one. Okay, now look at this one. What do you have to do? You got to put zeros in, right? You have x to the third plus what? Hey, pay attention. X to the third plus what? 0x squared plus what? 0x plus what? 3. Okay, notice we started with this, it became this. Okay, yeah.
Can we simplify and do x3? Oh, never mind, we already did it. What? I thought it was.
You were gonna lay that out for me? Yeah. Yeah, so you have to make sure you put both of those in even though they're not there, okay? So if we're dividing by x plus 1, the question you're asking is what can I multiply x by to get x to the third?
That's a good question. X cubed, x squared.
X squared, right? So this will be x squared, and then multiply that by both. So that's x to the third plus, okay, now here's where 1 times x squared is just x squared, right? I would write it as 1x squared because the people that just write x squared often call this 0, and then it's wrong. So I always put the 1 in on these just because it makes a little more sense. So 0x squared minus 1x squared is what? A negative 1x squared, okay? Then bring down the 0x. Okay, so now it's what can I multiply x by to get a negative 1x squared? Negative 1x. And again, you don't have to put that 1 in. I just think it keeps you from making silly mistakes. So I would. So now if I distribute that, I get a negative 1x squared. And then negative 1x times 1 is a negative 1x. Now be careful here. What do you get when you subtract these? 1x, right? It's minus a negative is plus a positive. So minus a negative 1x is a positive 1x, and then bring down the plus 3. What can you multiply x by to get 1x? 1. So a plus 1. So that's going to be 1x plus 1, and we're subtracting. So you get a remainder of 2. So here's your options. Either x squared minus x plus 1, remainder 2. That's a perfectly good answer. Or if you want to write it the Ham-Ram way, x squared minus x plus 1 plus 2 over your divisor, x plus 1. Okay? You don't have to give me both. So give me whichever one you prefer to do, and you'll be good to go. Questions on that? You survived, Nicholas.
It says minus 1x squared. Why is it negative 1x squared minus another 1x squared?
How did I get these as my number, or how did I get this from?
Because if it's a negative, why are you subtracting?
So it's negative 1x squared. You always subtract in long division. So this is always subtraction, right? So it's negative 1x squared minus a negative. Excuse me, still working over here. So that's plus a positive, which makes that 0. Same thing here. Minus a negative is plus a positive with that one. So that's a positive 1x. Does that make sense? So you're always subtracting. It's just a matter of are you subtracting a positive or a negative.